About today's subject, which is how amino acids affect cardiovascular health.
Yes.
Right.
For one, cardiovascular health is not just about cholesterol.
Right.
That's one of the key factors that you need to take away from this. Amino acids.
And what are amino acids?
Well, amino acids are the building blocks for proteins.
Right.
You take a group of amino acids, and according to the DNA and so on, it tells which amino acids to hook together, and it makes various proteins. And it could be the protein for a heart muscle, it could be the protein for a leg muscle, eyeball, kidneys, whatever, just different proteins, enzymes, things like that. So the amino acids are literally the building block for us.
For us. And if you're lacking protein, you're usually lacking amino acids. And so we wanted to do a show about how important the amino acids are and what specifically they do for the cardiovascular system. Because a lot of people don't realize how important it is. And in most people we see, especially as they age, they don't get enough protein. And those are the people, because of cardiovascular health, need it probably the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
so amino acids are the building blocks of the protein, and all of your muscles need that protein, notwithstanding the heart.
Right. And you think about, muscles, people always think about muscles when they think of protein. Well, the heart is your most demanding muscle in the body.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's very important to get the amino acids you need. And specific ones do specific things, and then we're going to actually go into specifics in which amino acids do what for the heart.
Let's jump in.
Jump in. Okay.
I think that's one of the key takeaways right there. One of the biggies that we always talk about, and one of the biggies for cardiovascular health, is blood control issues. And something that's really big and something that we use a lot is arginine and citrulline. Those are two amino acids, and those are two very important amino acids because they can help to actually control blood pressure. Through vasodilation, they increase nitric oxide. Nitric oxide lets the blood vessels expand and contract, and like they're supposed to, and then if we keep them nice and flexible and moving, now we can flow more blood through them. We get better blood flow. We get better blood pressure control. It's a good thing for everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And it helps with blood pressure, but it also helps the lining of the arteries.
Yes.
And if that lining is damaged, we've mentioned it multiple times during other cardiovascular shows, but if you damage that endothelial lining, then you're actually the body's response is to lay down plaque. It's like, okay, this is damaged, we need to patch it up. And that's how the body patches things up, is by laying down plaque. So if you think about it, you don't want an unhealthy lining. You don't want damage to that lining. And so you need the amino acids to actually help with that.
That's true.
And arginine and citrulline are two that do help. Citrulline, a lot of people don't realize what citrulline is. They've heard of arginine, and arginine is actually, we probably hear more people come in asking about arginine. Citrulline is actually a little better because it's time-released. It technically is a time-released arginine. It bypasses the liver on the first pass, and it actually is slower to turn into arginine, and then it stays in the system longer. So when it's talking about controlling blood pressure, arginine hits the system pretty fast, but it's gone pretty quick. And you want that too, but you want something that's going to stay around because you don't want blood pressure just to be better for 2 to 3 hours. You want it to be better. Actually, it's about 12 hours that we tend to tell people they got to take it every 12 hours to get the blood pressure control.
Yeah. The citrulline stuff is kind of an oddball. Like I say, it's probably never heard of it. But citrulline actually helps to recycle arginine. Some of the get into some of the biochemistry of it. It really gets complicated, but what happens is the citrulline will actually take that arginine, make something called homoarginine and stuff like that. So it's got a really weird biochemistry behind it, but it works great.
Yeah, the homoarginine is lysine. You have to have lysine which is another amino acid.
We'll get to that one.
And arginine to actually have the homoarginine, and it's just been shown in studies to be, if you don't have much of this homoarginine, then you actually have an increased incidence of cardiovascular problems, which is, heart attack and stroke is what,
Which we don't want.
Which we don't
want.
Yeah,
which they call those MACE, M-A-C-E, major adverse cardiovascular events. Those are not good events to have.
They're never comfortable.
No.
They're never.
And most of the research on the amino acids are not 100% directed, okay, this decreases heart attacks.
Right.
But they show that it does everything else that kind of can decrease heart attacks.
Right.
So there is a lot of research out there, and there's probably a lot of research to be done. And so, but the amino acids, they're finding more and more about what they do and how they work and how important they are.
So do we need the arginine and the citrulline together?
Well,
Yes.
in our opinion, yes.
For cardiovascular, yes.
Right, simply
Okay.
because you want the arginine to increase that nitric oxide, because it's a direct booster of nitric oxide, and we want that. NO, or nitric oxide, is something that actually helps those blood vessels dilate and keep from being so tight and causing high blood pressure. You want that. But then at the same time, you want something that, like she said, arginine, yeah, you take a dose of arginine, just arginine by itself today, and it's going to last you a couple hours.
And for working out, some people do it for working out.
Yeah.
Because they take arginine, it vasodilates, it opens up blood vessels, they get a better workout, they get more blood flow, and they only need it for a few hours. So in a young, healthy person that's actually just using it for that issue, maybe arginine by itself is fine, because we do have arginine by itself. But if you're wanting the cardiovascular effects and you're wanting it to stay in the body all the time, then we like dose them together at every 12 hours.
Right.
Yep.
So that way you're getting the full use.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And
maximum benefit.
This is something that you take just for normal everyday health, not to mention those individuals who have blood pressure issues anyway.
The main thing, I mean, we see a lot for blood pressure. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, no doubt.
Because people come in saying, my blood pressure's not controlled and I'm already on medication. And the good thing is it's safe to add to most medications. So that's the good thing about it. And so they want something a little extra to help lower it more. And we're not telling you to do it instead of your blood pressure medicine.
Sure.
We're telling you that you can definitely do it to help, or even if you start seeing your blood pressure go up, don't wait until it is elevated. Do something like that to begin with. So that's what, how we use it. But one other thing that's used is for ED. And so because of course blood flow.
There you
Blood
go.
flow. One of the biggies with lysine and proline is how they actually help us maintain collagen. And collagen gives that endothelial lining that she was talking about, the inside of your arteries. It gives them strength and keeps them from having damage done to them. And if we can keep down the damage, we keep down the plaque lay down, and we kind of nip this thing in the bud, and we stay healthier.
And Linus Pauling, which a lot of people might not remember him, but he did a lot of research on vitamin C. And he did research with lysine and proline added to vitamin C for cardiovascular health. And one of the big areas he looked at was how it helped with the lipoprotein A. Lipoprotein A is a genetic factor. A lot of people don't even know they have high lipoprotein A. We are checking it on our supercardiac panel. So we are checking a lot of people's and finding out more people have it than know about it. And it's 100% genetic. It is not going to lower it to normal. Unfortunately, there's not much out there that does right now. There's some drugs that are in research that look promising, but right now there's really not anything that completely lowers it. And it is a big cardiovascular risk. Well, what lysine and proline has been shown to do is kind of help with the lysine receptors. And it does, technically block the lipoprotein A from causing problems.
Yeah, the lysine, when it binds to those receptor sites, that's normally where the LP(a) or lipoprotein A would bind. Well, if you've got a lysine in the way, the LP(a) says, well, yeah, I can't stop here, so it just keeps going. And that way, that's what we're trying to do is, even though something's there and it's kind of not really good if it does kind of bind up and cause problems, if we can keep it from just keep flowing, just let it go. Yeah, block it, we're better off. So.
And like I said, he mentioned collagen, and it helps collagen everywhere, not just in your arteries.
Right,
so that's actually a benefit. Your skin, and it's known to help with things like that as well. So, we like it used with liposomal vitamin C. And liposomal C, like we've talked about before, is just much more absorbable than regular vitamin C. And
you're kind of tricking the body with it, right?
Yeah,
right.
But you're tricking the body with the lysine and proline. So, and they're safe amino acids. The good thing is amino acids are so safe. That's one of the good things about them is the safety.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, we've got to have these amino acids, so therefore they don't cause problems, they cause remedies.
You're right.
They make proteins, they make enzymes, they make things like that, which are basically proteins. So it's a very good thing all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, my dad was into bodybuilding and was just like tons of amino acids, just like handfuls of them at a time.
Now, sometimes the branch chains can actually cause issues when you overdo it. So you can overdo things. And you do want specific things for specific problems.
Yeah.
And there's a few more that we were going to talk about.
Yeah, one of the next one, and this is a big one with us, and because we use it a lot in a lot of different ways, is glycine, G-O-Y, glycine. And glycine it's a great amino acid. One, it's an anti-inflammatory, can't go wrong with there. The other thing that it does really well, it helps keep down the LDL fractions. It helps keep down the ApoB. It does a lot of really good stuff in the body for cardiovascular health.
For
no
lipids.
Doubt about it.
And at the same time, glycine's very relaxing.
Very.
So it actually helps you sleep. A lot of people take it at bedtime for sleep. It can be taken in dimethylglycine for the immune system.
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways that we use glycine, and we even have the magnesium glycinate. People don't realize that's a glycine molecule with magnesium. So that's what magnesium glycinate is.
And something that what they did some various correlative studies, and they show that, and it's not showing causation, but it shows a great correlation. The inverse relationship between high glycine and low cardiovascular problems. That's the big issue. So the people that had a lot of cardiovascular problems had very low glycine. So, okay, let's just turn that around. Let's give us a lot of glycine. And we need magnesium anyhow, so magglycinate is a great way to get your magnesium. You get two things that both needed for cardiovascular health. Yeah.
And then there's two more amino acids that are known for muscles.
Right.
And like we already said, the heart's the most demanding muscle in the body. And that is taurine and carnitine.
Right.
And so those both help can help the heart function better. It can actually help it pump. They've even shown with some of the research to help the ejection fraction of the heart. So it can actually help with a lot of things to do with pumping of the heart and muscle function. Yeah. And at the same time, it helps your other muscles too. So it don't hurt that either. So those are both ones that we've used for a long time. And you hear of a lot of times they say taurine deficiency can actually increase your risk of congestive heart failure. So that's one thing you don't want.
Right.
Well, does this, in the pumping of this isn't helping it not to harden. This is just helping the function.
The helping the nitric oxide that we talked about earlier, that does help keep down the hardening. So the different amino acids do different things. And that's what I say. It's not one of them that does everything. But these are the ones specific for cardiovascular.
Yeah. Like I say, when you have damage to that endothelial lining, and this is huge. And it gets a lot of research in modern day cardiovascular research. It is about that endothelial lining and trying to keep it healthy. Because if it becomes unhealthy and it becomes damaged, that's the problem. And it starts the process. The body says, hey, I got to repair this thing. The only thing I got laying around is cholesterol and stuff, and monocytes and so on. So we'll start this. And it just kind of cascades out of it. Problems and into some really big problems, really. Yeah,
it's a lot more, like I said, at the beginning of the show, he said it's a lot more than just cholesterol.
Yeah.
And that's why we tell people, just keeping your cholesterol low is not enough to completely get rid of your cardiovascular risk, which is why half of all people that have heart attacks have normal cholesterol, because there's other factors. And you have to look at all the factors. Right. And the lipoprotein A is one that we see not looked at very often.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to make sure that your body's going to lay down that plaque anyway. And so if there's damage there, and if you're going on the back end and you're not helping yourself by eating the things that you shouldn't be eating.
Oh, definitely. We always say diet. I mean,
diet. I mean,
of course, diet is always a big thing, and eat enough protein and get rid of the packaged processed food. That will actually help with cardiovascular risk in itself.
Yep.
I mean, you think about it. A heart attack is it still leading cause of death in the country?
Heart disease.
Heart disease.
Yeah. So. All of them together.
I mean, it's definitely something that you need to be focused on, especially if it runs in your family.
Right, and we're not just talking about heart attacks when we talk about cardiovascular risk. We're also talking about strokes. Strokes actually are also cardiovascular.
And then along with that, when you talk about strokes, you're talking about the brain. So if the thing is when you have a clot or something happens to the heart, it's a heart attack. If it goes to the brain, we call it a stroke. We don't call it a brain attack. We should probably, but we don't. Because people would kind of think about it differently. But anyhow, but when you have the problems with that cardiovascular stuff in the brain, now we're seeing all the stuff with the dementias and so on too. So
we have a question here. What can help prostate for men over 60?
Use it or lose it.
That
is the most diplomatic way of answering the question that we answered in the break.
Yeah, I mean.
That's one thing. Now, we do have some supplements.
Yeah.
We do have supplements for prostate health, and one of them is our DN Prostate Max. Works really good for prostate enlargement. And it really depends. I mean, we have a lot of other stuff we can, depending on what's going on. I mean, we have DIM, diindolylmethane can help. We have the broccoli seed extract that can help. But definitely, we usually start with our Prostate Max, and our Prostate Max works really well. I mean, we've had tons of men that are actually on that, and I've even had people that were on it. They were doing great. Their PSA was even lower. It lowered PSA even, and then they saw something on the internet that looked really good, so they switched. And then they come back in, their PSA goes up. They're like, "Oh, what in the world?" Yeah. I said, "Are you still taking what we put you on?" And they're, "Well, I saw something I thought might be better." I said, "Well, I've had multiple men that say, so it works really good."
Yeah.
How's that working out for you?
Yeah, exactly. And they always go back to our Prostate Max.
Yeah.
So maybe try the Prostate Max and see how you do.
Yeah, it's got the saw palmetto, a lot of stuff in it.
A lot of the phytosterols. It
Yeah.
has your antioxidants and your lycopenes and your pygium, and it has a lot of different things in it.
And staying active as you physically can.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. Like I say, use it. That's literally one of the biggest issues they say is not, it makes seminal fluid. And if you don't get rid of it, it gets kind of stagnant and it causes some inflammatory problems.
Yeah. And we don't want that.
No.
So, and you get up, go into the bathroom all night long. Barely.
That's when you start having an enlargement. And it's not just men over 60. We see a lot of men over 50.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to be 60 to start with those problems.
Nope.
We see them probably around 50 start. And so that's actually young.
Wow.
You got something to look forward to.
Can't wait.
Yay. But we got something for it, so you don't have to worry about it.
There's definitely some things that can be taken. So did we cover all of the amino acids that we wanted to cover?
Pretty much. I mean, there's a few little, there's serine and there's a few little glutamine, extra things that have some benefit for the heart, but we talked about the ones that have the most.
Yeah. One of the there's a group of amino acids called branch chain amino acids. And I kind of caution people on taking too much of that. Now, a lot of your people that are getting in the gym, they will take them, they will use them quite often. And as long as you're doing something like that very actively to use it, that's great. If you're a couch potato and you take this stuff, okay, you're going to have a problem because those branch chains have been linked to some of the cardiometabolic, which is the blood sugar handling stuff that we don't need messed up. They've kind of been linked to that. So they need to be taken with caution. They can do some really great stuff. They can help release growth hormone, which is great for exercise and so on. But they do have they should be used cautiously, so to speak, as far as that goes.
Sure. With the growth hormone, you can also do it not with the branch chains, but if you can do it with glutamine, which is actually can be beneficial for the heart.
Right.
And our growth hormone release formula is glutamine, glycine, lysine, ornithine, and arginine. So a lot of the ones we talked about is also in our growth hormone release. So, and it's also a powder. A lot of the amino acid blends are powders because you got to take higher doses to get a benefit from it.
Sure.
Yeah.